Good morning. So I haven't done a video in a little while, and I really wanted to put something new up here for you guys to watch, touching on a subject that is becoming more and more frequent for me, at least, answering the same question. And I wanted to go ahead and address it now. I'm actually on my way to the VA right now for my weekly therapy session for my PTSD. So basically what I wanted to touch on is, since I've been more open about the fact that I do suffer from PTSD and that I am a veteran, the first question people generally want to ask is, did you deploy? And the answer is no. I did not deploy, and I still have PTSD. And some people find that hard to understand. Some do understand it, but I guess I wanted to just address it from someone that was in the military that did not deploy and does suffer from it. It is possible to get PTSD from other experiences other than just combat. For instance, you can watch the video Fearless on here and know that I went through violence. I was almost murdered. And that took its toll on me. And I also wanted to kind of address some other things too that I didn't mention in the Fearless video. In the Fearless video, that is the main cause of my pain, my issues with the PTSD, but there are other things that I did not touch base on, and I'm going to go ahead and come out with it at this point. It's taken me years to feel comfortable enough, because as a woman, especially in the military, it's intimidating to talk about certain things, but the topic of rape and things in the military is starting to come to the surface a little bit more frequent, and I'm going to go ahead and touch on that as well. I fell victim while I was on active duty when I was young, early 20s, living a life in the barracks as a young woman was a very scary place. I would get followed to my room after work. I had males force themselves into my room. One night I had somebody force themselves into my room, and luckily my buddy across the hall heard me screaming and came across and pulled the guy off me and got him out of my room, and then sat in front of my door and didn't sleep all night just to make sure that I was safe. And this was a regular occurrence. One of my first introductions to active duty military living in the barracks was, I lived in co-ed barracks, as you would assume, and it was 3 levels. I lived on the top floor, luckily. But shortly after my arrival at Fort Drum, we had a mass formation because there were males breaking into the bottom floor of our barracks into females' rooms and raping them. And the mass formation was to address this issue. They moved all the females off the first floor, moved them up to the second and third, and they ended up finding the people that were doing this. But imagine living every single day worrying, having to watch your back, wondering who's following you home, wondering who's watching you. This is the kind of stuff that they don't talk about in the media, because why would they want to talk about something so awful, but that is the reality. These guys and gals, we go overseas, experience insane trauma, and then come back and don't have any true healthy outlet, don't have our minds on right, and it's just a breeding ground for violence and rape and destruction, because we're not getting the help that we need. And the rape in the military is a lot higher than what people like want to acknowledge or understand. I'm not really sure, but to this day I can be sitting in my home and still check over my shoulder at the windows, at the doors, to make sure that nobody's trying to come in. Part of that does have to do with the violence that I went through with my ex-husband, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that I had to live for years watching over my shoulder, wondering who was watching me. And it's scary because you never know. I was approached by people I had never seen in my life or knew that they knew who I was, and they knew everything about me. They knew what room I was in, they knew what my routine was, and I'm a creature of habit. I need to get better about that anyway. But I mean, they knew, you know, she gets off work at 1600, she goes to the gym, she works out there for 2 hours and then comes back to her room. And, you know, at that time I was a young single soldier, so it was, I guess, an easy target. So, like I said, just because a person that was in the military didn't deploy doesn't mean that there's no reason that they would have PTSD. And the rape and the violence goes both ways. It's not just male on female. Females hurt males, and female, male, male. Like, there's no discriminating. And, you know, same with, and not just the military, like, think about police officers, first responders, firefighters. Those guys see some horrific things. Like, no, it's not combat, but they watch people die every day. They watch people suffer every day, you know, and it takes its toll. And so just be understanding of people that are suffering. You know, I know it's an illness that can't be seen, so it can be hard to kind of digest, or maybe, I don't know, believe for some, but it's real. My best advice that I can give anybody suffering from PTSD, depression, anxiety, regardless of the reason why it's there, it is there, and it is okay. Go get help. I've been in treatment for a little over a year now, and so thankful that I finally, after 6 years of suffering in silence and thinking that I could do it on my own, I'm so thankful that I reached out for the help of the VA and a professional counselor that can help me get my life back on track. Because for 6 years I stopped living. I stopped loving myself. I stopped just everything in general, and that's no way to live. And over the last year, I have blossomed into something I never imagined I could be. I still struggle, you know, not every day is great, but I've found a passion. I've surrounded myself with positive people, positive atmosphere, and I'm focusing on just getting better and believing that every day is gonna get a little bit easier. And I keep pushing forward, and I'm not going to look back. I'm not going to go back. No matter how much it hurts, I know that the more that I learn about how strong I am and what I need to do to become healthy, the better I feel inside, and the more fire I have lit under me to keep pushing for my goals and just for a better life in general. So if you are having a hard time, know that you're not alone, and it's okay to get help. Don't let the stigma of counseling be a sign of weakness, because it's not. It's a sign of strength to go get help. And I'm so glad that I did. It saved my life, and I know it can save yours too. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if you like the content. I'll be posting regularly. So thank you for all your support, and we'll see you soon.